driving home from Christmas, I was just thinking, I was thinking last night, I've been thinking about this since New Year's. The night of New Year's, I was wanting to make a video, but I was kind of having mixed feelings about it because, number one, I haven't made I have been recording, sorry about the bumping, I'm not going to be able to correct that. I've been wanting to post, I've been creating a Christmas video, just kind of like a Christmas vlog type thing of we've had so many Christmases all across the US, so I'm going to be posting a video about Christmas. With the reason I was hesitant to make this video, which is more geared towards New Year's, was because I didn't post a Christmas video yet. If you see, I'm not sure which one you'll see first, if you'll see the New Year's one, which I think you're going to see the New Year's one first. I think I'm going to post it first, and then I'll post the Christmas one, which will be a little unorthodox and totally not what normal people do, normal YouTubers do, but I'm not really a regular YouTuber anyways. So I've been thinking about posting this video, and I think it started out like I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions and about, people are always wanting to have New Year's resolutions, but then it just seems like, and everybody already knows this, like people always want to have a New Year's resolution and they have good intentions and then they never follow through with it, within the first few months of the year. I had a friend that worked at the gym. I feel like this is common knowledge, but it might not be. That I had a friend that worked at a gym, and he said the gym memberships always skyrocket in January, February, March, and then they whittle away by April, May, June. And for me, that was like bewildered. Like I just didn't get it. It didn't process in my brain, because for me, I'm thinking like, why would the gym membership be so big in the winter months? Wouldn't people want to get fit for the summer? Being from a northern state, if you're from California, you always need to be fit because you're always able to go to the beach. But like in Minnesota, people get all fat and sassy for the winter, and then they want to get like bikini bods for the summer, for the beach, for the lake. But he just said no, like, because people always have their New Year's resolutions, and that didn't even like process in my mind, like, oh, a New Year's resolution, and then they always end up falling off the bandwagon. And so people do that every single year, and it's funny because people know that about themselves and they know that about society. That being said, people always knowing that they're going to have these resolutions every single year and then break them within 3 months of the year, I was just thinking deeper, like where did this start? Why do we even have New Year's resolutions? Is it something inside of us that we just want this new year to be completely new? Like the people used to say, new year, new you, like New Year's resolutions. Like, why do we have this thing in us where we want to be like, we have these, our lives were one way the full year previously, and now the next year we want to improve ourselves, we want to make a change, we want to grow, we want to improve. And it's funny how it's like become this culture, not only of the US. I mean, the US is always wanting to improve themselves and be better, but I'm sure, I guess I can't say for sure, but I'm thinking the rest of the world has jumped on board with wanting to do New Year's resolutions. So as people wanting to do New Year's resolutions, and I think I was starting to think deeper, of course, why do we do this? I was just thinking about it. I started to think, do I have any New Year's resolutions? And then, so these are trains of thoughts, right? So then the next thought was, I couldn't really think of a New Year's resolution, because I felt the Lord just saying to me in that moment, why don't you choose every day to do something to improve who you are the day before? So instead of having a new you the year before, why don't you choose each day? And I feel like the whole year situation, like a new year, new you, is great, but it's like trying to eat a whole cow in one bite, and then you expect yourself to be 100% changed. People do expect themselves to be changed fairly quickly within the year, let's say 3 months, which is example of the people at the gym. They want to see results, which you should be able to see some results if you're consistent and eating right and working out and doing the right things. In 90 days is only when you start to see results at the gym, which is about the same time when people actually drop off and quit. But it's not just at the gym, but it's with everything in our lives. How can anyone expect to be changed when the entire year previously they were living one way, no matter what that is, and then trying to change that? And some people say it takes 30 days, 90 or 60 to break a habit. I mean, whatever amount that is, it doesn't matter. I just felt, regardless, to try to be a completely different person in a very quick amount of time when you've been one way for a whole year previously or longer is just not reasonable, and it's not you're not going to be able to accomplish that, and you're setting yourself up for failure, which is inevitably what happens when people make this resolution and then they quit 3 months in or sooner, if they even make it to 3 months. And so I just really felt the Lord saying, what are different things that you really want to improve on and you really want to grow in, and just choose one thing each day. And then for me, that was kind of starting to get overwhelming, because there's a million things I want to improve upon in myself, not just for me, but for my husband and for my kid, our only child, but for our future kids, and for just ministry, and for anyone that we'll just ever meet, and our family and extended family, and just the world around us. I started to think of lists, like different categories of all the things that I wanted to improve in, whether it was fitness or character or my time with the Lord or my relationships or eating habits or anything. I was going on lists, like millions of different categories, and I started to feel myself getting overwhelmed immediately. And then I just, again, kind of felt the Lord wanting me to take a step back and like, why don't you just choose one thing each day? And in the past I have heard, which I hadn't made a decision on this, but maybe you want to do this also, is if you have lots of different goals, lots of different areas and categories, and then subcategories within those categories of different ways that you want to improve yourself and improve your life and improve your mind and your heart and your character and the way you treat people and your physical, whatever it is, you can always pick one thing, like be intentional, like I'm going to receive compliments well. I'm going to believe what the Lord says about me. Like, for example, like that's one thing that you can improve your life, that will radically change your life. If you just decide to believe what the Lord says about you each day and just believe one thing, and then you go through and you do that for a week. I remember they said do it for 30 days. I mean, starting with a week, but then going to 30 days. And for each day of those 30 days, so let me back up. You do it for a week, and then you add something else. So you could, for example, decide, I'm going to believe what the Lord says about me, and you're reading the Word, and He says that I love you, and or he says, I've chosen you, okay, well then you can remind yourself throughout the day that he actually has chosen me, and then decide to believe it, not just, oh, he chose me and he chose everybody else and I'm not special than anyone else, but also he chose me, and just to believe that, and then it's something different the next day, but you're believing what he said, and at the end of the week you decide, oh, I want to be working out for 10 minutes a day. And let's say you weren't working out at all, so now you're believing what the Lord says about you just once a day. You just believe that thing, and then you're working out for 10 minutes a day. And then, you know what I mean? So now you're doing both things, and at the end of the month you're doing 4 things to improve yourself intentionally, just those 4 things. And so eventually you'll have, those things will become habits. And even if you want to break them down even less, even to a lesser degree, of you're just doing one thing for 30 days. And that just might be just believing what the Lord says about you for 30 days. And each day you're believing a new thing. Because if you're focused on actually believing that he loves you no matter what you do, like, I was thinking about that because we have our brand new son, and I was thinking, I think about it all day, every day, of how much I love him, and he's never done a thing to deserve that. And more than I ever have, I think, in my life, have I started to believe and understand that the Lord actually loves us without us doing anything. And I think I haven't I feel like I haven't understood it as much as I do just having him, knowing that, like, I really do love him without him ever doing anything. And I think there's a palpable understanding that I'm able to comprehend when I understand how much I love him without him doing anything. And I can start to understand how the Lord can love me without me doing anything to deserve that, and that I don't need to do anything each day. And again, that's such a cliche thing that everybody says to you when you're a Christian, but again, knowing it and actually believing it, and knowing it, how do I word this? Knowing it in your heart versus just, or saying you know it and knowing it as an action and doing it, or believing it, are 2 different things. So I hope that makes sense. I was really thinking about New Year's resolutions because today is the 2nd of January 2022, which is so crazy to even say out loud for the first time. I feel like I've seen it everywhere on TV and in the grocery store. As we're driving, you see it on all the stores, but to actually say it out loud is really weird. And we were going through New Year's resolutions, we were going through predictions. My family every year does predictions every single year, and my mom was going back to ones when we were in like 1994, and my sister had the cutest prediction when she was like 4, and she was like, I predict that people will be safe and they won't get fire on them, and nobody will get fire on them, and they'll be safe. And it's just, and my mom wrote it exactly how my sister had said it when she was like 4. It was so adorable. I think she was 4. It was in 1994. And just so adorable to be able to look back on those predictions. We do it every year. So we looked back in 2019, and I think my dad or my mom predicted that I would meet my husband, which happened. But it's really cool to be able to look back on those and to have those each year. I think I was just starting to really think about making daily resolutions rather than New Year's resolutions, because I think daily resolutions are a lot more, I'm thinking of bite-sized pieces instead of an entire cow type of situation right there, because as like any human, when we become overwhelmed, we just often will just throw in the towel. When you understand, oh, I can read the Bible in a year, that sounds, reading the Bible in a year sounds overwhelming. How am I ever going to do that each day? But if I have, the one that I'm reading, some days I'm only reading 1 or 2 chapters, and other days I'm reading 3 or 4, sometimes 5, but sometimes the chapters are a lot smaller, and sometimes they're bigger if it's only 1 or 2, but regardless, each day is only a few chapters, which is a lot easier to be able to do that versus thinking, oh yeah, I read the Bible in a year, and that's my New Year's resolution is to read the Bible in a year. It sounds insurmountable, but it's just not the case when you do a daily resolution. So I hope that perspective helps, and if you have any daily resolutions you want to share and inspire, please feel free to comment those below. Happy New Year!